Hello everyone, I am back. I wanted to review the MS General kit, General Show, depending on where you look. And then, me being not so completely cultured, I don't exactly know how to pronounce. I'm gonna call it Show because that's what I heard on the Gundam SD animated series. They call them Shosho. So, there she is in her full armored mode. I am very impressed with this model kit. She's quite tall compared to other model kits in the genre. Of course, she is fully armored, which means that to compare her evenly, fairly, you should do another fully armored character. Here, for example, is Stylet, missing one of her signature hair pieces, but as you can see, significantly taller, um, at least a head above where Stylet would be. I mean, normally Stylet's a pretty big piece. I also have a few other of the ATK girls in the background, but I don't want to pull them out because everything will. It's kind of chaos back there. Anyways, I wanted to show you guys some of the little features on the kit. As you can tell, fully armored. Oh, I lost something. What did I lose? Oh, one of the foot wing feather things. Interesting. Decided to bail out on me. Well, we'll leave it off because that would be troublesome to do with the camera in my face. Anyways, she is completely articulated. Dual knees. See, there's the other one too. Dual knee joints. The swivel here at the upper thigh. Each one of these has at least 2 points of articulation. This one has a ball joint, so you can actually spin it outwards. This one moves down here and here, so you can get that claw look that you like. Or you can put it back up to have a flat foot to stand on, which is a good thing because completed, this kit is very heavy. Very heavy. The included stand actually can't carry her with the wings on steady. She actually wiggles a little bit on that stand. And the stand is pretty substantial too for its size. It's a pretty decent stand. Not compared to the ones that I got in General Huang, Zhang, and Guan Yu, but pretty substantial nonetheless. She does have plate armor on her thighs. Like I said, there's the dual knees. The foot also can rock sideways, but then you'll lose those yellow things. These move. She has tons of articulation in the legs, which kind of brings me to the disappointing fact that you only have, well, there's 2 joints in the arms, but there's not very much movement in them because of the waist armor, which is removable, so I mean you can always move it, but what are you gonna do that for? But the other thing that bothers me is this faceplate here. It's a little flat. If it was more angled, I think I would have liked it more. It's definitely detailed enough to paint, but I think flat in terms of actual dimension, it's not as beautiful as I'd like it to be. And taking it off, there's some notches on the side of her face, so that's where it plugs into. I think they could have done that a little bit better. Having said that, it's still really good. This moves. I don't know, maybe she's in anger mode. And then, okay, I'm a little bit calmer. I'm just kidding. She has a wrist joint, typical ball joint 2-piece. Her shoulder armor moves. It can go up and down, depending on which angle of attack you want to perform with the only weapon in this kit, which is the sword. Kind of funny considering how large the kit is. She only comes with the one sword. I thought maybe a spear or something like that. Being an aerial unit, as she is, you might not be able to tell from how she is right now. But there is another accessory for her. In this mode, move this out of the way. And that's this giant shield. If you can't tell, it actually covers her completely. There's no chance any weapon's gonna get through that. These are her wing parts, actually, that all plug in together on the shield and get used to perform this funky kind of a stylized little thing. Oh yeah, this is a tail feathers part, so you have that as well. Yeah, it's a pretty big mess that combines to make a pretty cool looking mega shield. There's no way any attack's getting through this. Impressively enough, she can actually hold it with some doing. It's more kind of propping it up against her, standing pose than her holding it, because of course it is really heavy. This is the vast majority of the weight on the kit. Right here, as you can see, the connector for it is just one little peg. And that's not really enough to hold that thing up. So it's more propping it up against her. Or propping the shield up against the ground and letting her pose with it. But still, that's a really cool thing. Even put that on your wall, that'd be a really cool thing to have, just sitting there on the wall. I don't know. I think that would be pretty cool. But the real idea behind this is to put it on either the contract beast or on her, which I will do a pose with her initially, and then I will show you the contract beast. As with the shield, she can actually stand on her own with the wings out, which is very impressive to me. I will admit, though, she is resting on her tail feathers between her legs in the back there. That, I don't think that's too much of a draw, because basically it is the kit standing on its own. Those wings are incredible. Very Sinanju or Sazabi designed aesthetic. Or, well, no, I guess it would be just the Shinanju, because those are red. On the Gundam side of things, the wings here and here are that kind of sub-assembly, just like you would see on a Gundam. And same with the skirting armor. I think that's very similar to what they have on Gundams. Putting it together, reminiscent of the same style. These wings, they actually move independently of each other. You can move them up and down freely. They also rotate in there, but I don't know why you would do that. The whole wing assembly also rotates and can pivot backwards. So like if you wanted to do something like a fast, forward motion or something like that, that works. The tail feathers as well move open and shut. So you can have her cruising up in the air or something like that. There are 2 plug locations on the rear for the stand. Right now, the tail feather section is plugged into one of them, but the other is directly below, near her booty. It's easy to plug into, even with all the mess in the way. You just plug straight up in there, and it's no problem. And like I said, it can hold her, but it's a little shaky with everything else on it. It's not to say it's a bad thing, but you could have included a bigger, better stand. I am really impressed with the look of the kit, how big it is. It's almost as big as the dragon Guan Yu. Not quite as detailed, I guess I'd say. Not quite as impressive looking on the shelf, but definitely up there on the looks margin. She's definitely a attention-getting kit compared to some of the others that are out there. Like you can see these ones built out here, they aren't as grabby as that. Red and yellow, bright, out there, clear purple parts, always a cool color to show speed and danger, I think. It's a very good combination of colors. So now we get to the fun part. I'm going to put together the Bifang in its configuration, which is the contract beast. And, you know, I can show you without the wing sections and feet because they borrow parts from her to complete. Let me go ahead and bring him out real quick. I'm sorry, Madoka. Come on out of the way. The Bifang is quite an impressive kit in and of itself. It's not part intensive. They made it pretty simple as far as a mech design, but really, you couldn't ask for more from like a bird guardian creature. As far as what you expect from one of those, I think it looks pretty good. But definitely glue these parts together. Cement will be your friend because that purple fell out, and I know where it is. I can't get it. Anyways, let me go ahead and change the configuration so this one is the completed beast, and I will change her to her unarmored form, and we'll compare them to the unarmored forms of the other girls. Alright, well, for this part of the review, we're talking about Bifang, the contract beast. Each one of the MS General girls somehow made a contract with a divine beast of some sort. Guan Yu was a dragon. The first one, I don't remember her name, forgive me. Had some sort of fox slash mecha cool creature like that. So Guan Yu's dragon, fox was the first one, and Huangzhang was another bird similar to this one, but that one turned into a mega cannon, and that's the configuration it's in right now. Either way, they are really cool. The dragon can be built on its own. So can the bird cannon, and the fox is actually made up of all of the first character's armor, so that can't be built on its own. Similar to that, this one is borrowing her wings and her skirt armor, as well as her head piece here, of course, and the tail feather section, the feet as well, as you can see. You can't build them both in armored form, which is kind of sad. Huangzhang allows you to do that, and even includes an armor box, which is actually right here, where she can stow her weapons. It's a pretty cool little detail I liked. And that kit as well. Well, I'll bring her up after. As far as the chicken here, someone said that he looks like Galarian form Zapdos, which I agree actually. He is quite articulated for what he is. Like I said before, he's simple in body construction. His wings are exactly the same as they were on her. The legs can move quite a bit, so you can tuck them under. He's got the same skirt action as the girl did. Same tail feathers. Those two little things on his back move. Oop. Same little action over here on the wings. His neck is in ball joints, so he can move all the way down, quite a bit. So you can post something like an attack dive. He does stand very well on the stand. Again, the wings are very heavy, so it will be shaky, but it does stand better than it did with her on there alone. He can actually stand on one leg if you're very careful to do an attack pose, say like he's striking something on the ground. It will balance on one foot. I'm not going to do that right now because it requires both my hands, and obviously I'm holding my phone. But definitely a cool contract piece compared to the first release. The dragon, I think, is better. It doesn't have an official form without the girl, but you can put it together on its own, and it does look pretty neat. The Huangzhong bird, I forget his name. Anyways, he's actually really cool too on his own. Could have been better, but this one is definitely on the top of the contract beasts in my opinion. That face, he's pretty cool looking, And his mouth does open. He can yell at you if you're careful. Pretty cool. Right, and for our last part, I am going to show you the girl with all of her friends. These are the other MS General kits that I have so far in their unarmored forms. I forget her name. As you can tell, it's a different sort of look than the other ones. This was their first, and of course it was like basically their prototype. It definitely has a different feel to it than the other ones. They were trying for something a little bit different than the other Mecha Musume with the big beefy ball joints. She has a different look, and I do actually appreciate it. The other thing about her is that she is very loose in comparison to the others. Those knees are barely holding on tight, and that is after sanding them down and then refilling the spaces to make sure that it would fit properly. That said, she is a very adorable looking girl. A little bit silly on the face, but it was their first attempt. I definitely appreciate it. If I can remember her name. Anyways, the second one to come out was the Guan Yu, I think. That is the dragon girl. She's just slightly taller than the other girls. Thinner appearance than the others. This one is definitely modeled after her body style, which is pretty cool. They all have these silly shoes on the later models. I don't like them. But I mean, when they're in armored form, it makes more sense. Her, it doesn't, because hers actually has another body for her armored mode, which I can show you after. But she is definitely a contrast in appearance of the other ones. Not contrast, I want to say like an evolution of the other girls. From the first to the last that I've had so far. The new one coming out, Machao, is going to be even different than these ones, which is fun. But they've definitely been experimenting, and it's fun. So yeah, these are my MS General girls that I've had so far. Definitely enjoyable building Shou, Guan Yu, and Huangzhong. I did say I was going to get the armored form of Huangzhong for y'all. So, this is her. See, it's interesting that they give you another body with this one, and then they go back to the same mode as they did before. I'm not complaining. This was a really cool one-off gimmick. The ATK girls tend to do the same thing, the dual body, so you get an unarmored and an armored form. But I mean, that's so far that I've had, except for the white tiger back there. She has only one form, one body. But in any case, that one is it's an exception to their rule and a welcome one. I definitely appreciate it. It feels like you got a lot in that pack. As far as this one, for what I paid for it, I definitely recommend it. Be very careful with the joints, as they are very tight compared to, say this one, or even Huangzhang. Guan Yu's were a little bit tight too, so I definitely did some sanding on that and filling on the joints. That's something you have to remember with all of the Mecha Musume, really. If you're going to build a girl kit, sometimes you need to take some time on the joints, because the movement on these things, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. And you can definitely break some stuff. Like I said with this one, wasn't too big a deal. She is pretty loose. Like if you were to see these feet especially, they just kind of, no pressure at all, just flop around. But that's not so bad anymore. I guess I did a pretty decent job there. But as far as the other joints, they're pretty good. It's really the knees and the feet. Yeah, like the slightest pressure. There it goes. I won't be able to get her to stand again, so I'll just put her down. But anyways, yeah, no, make sure you sand your joints. Make sure you tend to them if you want them to last you any good time. I didn't want to say it, but on the skirt armor on the Bifang, taking it off of her and putting it on the Bifang, I ended up messing up one of the joints on that. It's just the plug that goes into the hole, but it was unfortunate while I was recording the video. But in any case, I do recommend finding yourself an MS General So if you are so inclined. She is definitely worth the buy-in price. I think I got her for $60 plus shipping, but I was really lucky to find that. I think normally she's around $80 kit. You maybe a little bit more, and she'd even be worth it at that price for that, the Bifang, and for this unarmored model. It's definitely worthwhile. It's a lot more than what you would get in a Kotobukiya kit. Not dissing Kotobukiya, of course, because they are, I think my favorite. I still love ATK girls a little bit more than I like the MS Generals. The problem with these being that the contract pieces are really bulky. Whereas these girls, I can kind of just keep them here together. And they look good there on the shelf. I'll just keep them on the shelf even with the armor set. They're not that big. These ones, they take up a lot of room. So if you don't have a lot of space, maybe skip out on the MS General line. I don't want to say that because really, they're really cool. And I do recommend getting yourself one, at least one. Huangzhang would be my best bet. That is a really cool kit for what you get, and the price is not too high. I think it's the same as what you get a Shosho from. The dragon is hard to get for cheaply, but she's definitely a good one to buy too. She is more expensive than the other ones, but the dragon is really cool. Shosho or Huangzhang would definitely be my vote, though, if you could only get one. I think they are really cool, and that is my review.